I'm Lena and welcome to my channel. I just spent the last few days crafting up a bunch of spooky Halloween decorations and I filmed the whole process so that you can recreate some of them yourself. I'm very happy with how everything turned out and now I'm so pumped to decorate my house for Halloween. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get into craft number 1. All you need for this project is some felt and embroidery floss. Start by cutting out 8 white circles and 14 red circles. These are about 3 inches in diameter. Then cut out some black circles to act as pupils. There should be 2 large circles per eye. Then cut out any details you'd like. For the blood drips, I used 4 of the red circles and I just kind of cut out the shape until I was happy with it. Once all of the pieces were cut, I threaded a 3-strand piece of embroidery floss onto my needle and I got to sewing the 2 large circles together for each eye. I used a blanket stitch to go almost all the way around. You do that by inserting your needle like so and then pulling it through the loop. Don't go too tight, but make sure it's snug. Go almost all the way around, leaving about 1 inch open, and then you can add some stuffing. Once you're happy with the amount of stuffing, just go ahead and close up that circle with your blanket stitch. When you get to that first stitch, insert your needle like so, and then tie a little knot in the back. Here I'm just finishing up all of the eyeballs. I think there were 9 in total, and I'm getting some puppy snuggles. Here I have my 2 cute little bowls of eyes. I'm already loving how they're looking. I am just now going to use my hot glue gun to attach all of the little details to them. I am, however, going to leave off the red drips from the white eyes because I'll actually be sewing these on. I think it'll just look nicer since they're so large. You can really have fun with which details you decide to put on your eyes and which color eyes you make. I did red and white, but that's because I only had a little bit of felt. I think all white would have been a good idea as well. I think it's also a good idea to make the pupils all facing different directions, but again, totally up to you. I'm just stitching on the red blood drips, but this is optional. You could totally hot glue it as well. So I have most of the eyes done, but I need to go to the gym, and while I'm there, I'm probably going to run out of daylight for the rest of the day. So I think I'm going to show you how to string the eyes up onto the string and make it into a garland tomorrow. But when I get back tonight, I think I might start on the next project as well, and I'll show you that if I do. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Next, just lay out your eyes in the order that you want them to hang on the string. Take some yarn and pass it through the top of each eye and place them about 4 inches apart. I tied a little knot to secure them and make sure they're all facing the right direction while hanging. And it's done. Hang around till the end of the video to see the final product. We are now on to project 2. I think that the garland turned out so cute. This one I'm not so sure about. I've never really been much of a sculptor, though I have tried in the past quite a bit. But what I want to do is use this foam clay here to craft a skeleton hand that will be reaching around this candlestick holder, something like that. And I think it should be pretty difficult, so it probably won't be perfect, but that's okay. And then I'm going to do like a blood dripping down these candles little craft. I'm gonna start on the foam clay because this needs 1 to 2 days to dry fully. Then I will be priming it and painting it. Now that I've worked with this clay, there are a few things that I would do differently if I were to do this project again in the future, but here is what I did. I rolled the clay into finger shapes and I made sure to insert some thin gold wire just to help hold everything together. Then I used my scissors to make some little grooves in the clay, and then I kind of twisted and pulled and pushed everything until it looked like finger joints. I fiddled around with all 5 fingers using this as a reference, and I'm overall pretty happy with how this first version of the hand came out, but I did end up redoing it because upon trying to place it on my candlestick, it was just not fitting. Here's my second attempt and I feel like it's so much better. Now to let it dry for 2 days. I dried it by placing it on this candlestick, but in the future I think I would have just left it on the table because it drooped and sagged and got kind of messed up over the couple days of drying. While the skeleton hand dries, let's get started on the bloody candles. For this next project, I just used a hot glue gun to put a bunch of fake blood drips all over these candles. I found that holding the candles on their side like this is definitely the best method. Then I mixed up some acrylic paint and I just painted the hot glue drips. It's a bit messy, but it's a pretty fun project. If you actually want to burn your candles, I would suggest trying to melt the wax of a red candle and just dripping it on top of a white candle, of course avoiding the wick. I don't really know how safe it is to burn glue and acrylic paint, so these won't actually be getting used. Now this was one of the easiest but my favorite projects that I've ever done for Halloween. Just take any white fabric, I just used an old pillowcase and cut a couple of rough circles out of it. These do not have to be perfect. Next, just take a needle and thread, a pretty long piece of thread at that, and just do a really loose basting stitch all the way around each circle. I ended up making one of the circles a bit smaller than the other. Once you've basted all the way around, add some stuffing and then just pull your string tight to create a weird little ball thing. And then just pass your needle through a couple of times at the bottom there to secure it, and then I just tucked that little end in so that I actually had a ball to work with. Very easy. Next, take about 3 yards of cheesecloth and cut it into 2 pieces. I made one a foot longer than the other. Then I took my 2 different sized heads and matched up the smaller piece of cheesecloth with the smaller head, and then the larger piece of cheesecloth with the larger head. They're already looking so cute. Then just take some fishing line or a light colored thread and just pass it through the top, catching the little ball and the cheesecloth. And that's pretty much it. Make the strings pretty long so you can hang it from your ceiling, and then just tie them at the top to secure everything. Now let's revisit that skeleton hand. Hello and welcome to my craft space. It is now day 3 and I've finished basically everything. I just need to add some primer and then paint my little skeleton hand, which I'm really happy with it. It's definitely not perfect, especially if you look at it from the back. It is actually pretty horrendous, but you put it on the candlestick and I think the visible part, like the front, looks pretty good. I took my dog's nail file to the foam clay after it was dry, and I just I fixed up a couple of the rough parts and smoothed them out a little bit. Definitely not perfect, but I think a little paint will also make it look better slightly, possibly. And then once the primer and paint are dry, I'm just going to use some super glue to attach it to the candlestick holder in just a couple of key places. And then yeah, then everything is done and I can't wait to show you all of the final products. Like I said, the hand did get a bit messed up during the drying process, so next time I try a project like this, I'll just let it dry flat on the table. Also, I could have used thicker wire, and I think that would help hold up the fingers. Now let's get to the final reveal. Thanks for watching!